Malik, you must never forget that if you are a ruler over them, then the Caliph, the successor of Muhammad, peace be upon him and his progeny, is the ruler over you, and God is the supreme Lord over the Caliph, the successor of Muhammad, peace be upon him and his progeny, and the reality is that he has appointed you as the governor, and tested you through the responsibility of this rulership over them. Never think of raising yourself to such a false prestige that you can declare war against God, because you cannot ward off his wrath, and you can never be free from the need of his mercy and compassion. Do not feel ashamed to forgive and forget. Do not hurry over punishments, and do not be pleased, and do not be proud of your power to punish. Do not get angry and lose your temper quickly over the mistakes and failures of those over whom you rule. On the contrary, be patient and sympathetic with them. Anger and desire of vengeance are not going to be of much help to you in your administration. Never say to yourself, I am their Lord, their ruler, and all in all over them, and that I must be obeyed submissively and humbly, because such a thought will unbalance your mind, will make you vain and arrogant, will weaken your faith in religion, and will make you seek support of any power other than that of God. If you ever feel any pride or vanity on account of your sway and rule over your subjects, then think of the supreme sway and rule of the Lord over the universe, the extent of his creations, the supremacy of his might and glory, his power to do things which you cannot even dream of doing, and his control over you, which is more dominating than that which you can ever achieve over anything around you. Such thoughts will cure your mental weakness, will keep you away from vanity and rebellion against God, will reduce your arrogance and haughtiness, and will take you back to the sanity which you had foolishly deserted. Take care never to think of bringing yourself at par with God, never to think of matching your power with him and contesting his glory, and ever to pretend that you possess might and power like him, because the mighty Lord will always humble pitiless tyrants, and will degrade all pretenders of his power and might. So far as your own affairs, or those of your relatives and friends are concerned, take care that you do not violate the duties laid down upon you by God, and do not usurp the rights of mankind. Be impartial and do justice to them, because if you give up equity and justice, then you will certainly be a tyrant and an oppressor, and whoever tyrannizes and oppresses the creatures of God will earn enmity of God, along with the hatred of those whom he has oppressed, and whoever earns the wrath of God loses all chances of salvation, and he has no excuse to offer on the day of judgment. Every tyrant and oppressor is an enemy of God, unless he repents and gives up oppression. Remember, Malik, that there is nothing in this world more effective to turn his blessings into his wrath quicker than to insist upon oppression over his creatures, because the merciful God will always hear the prayers of those who have been oppressed, and he will give no chance to oppressors. You must always appreciate and adopt a policy which is neither too severe nor too lenient. A policy which is based upon equity will be largely appreciated. Remember that the displeasure of common men, the have-nots, and the depressed persons more overbalances than the approval of important persons, while the displeasure of a few big people will be excused by the Lord. If the general public and the masses of your subjects are happy with you, remember, Malik, that usually these big personages are mentally the scum of the human society. They are the people who will be the worst drag upon you during your moments of peace and happiness, and the least useful to you during your hours of need and adversity. They hate justice the most. They will keep on demanding more and more out of the state resources, and will seldom be satisfied with what they receive, and will never be obliged for the favor shown to them if their demands are justifiably refused. They will never accept any reasonable excuse. or any rational argument, and when the time changes, you will never find them staunch, faithful and loyal, while the common men, the poor and apparently the less important section of your subjects are the pillars of Islam. They are the real assemblage of Muslims, and the power and defensive force against the enemies of Islam. Keep your mind on their affairs, be more friendly with them, and secure their trust and goodwill. But be careful in forming your contacts, whether with the most important persons or the commoners. Keep such people away from you, and think them to be the enemy of the state, who are scandal mongers and who try to find fault with others and carry on propaganda against them, because everywhere people have weaknesses and failings, and it is the duty of the government to overlook minor shortcomings. You must not try to go in search of those weaknesses, which are hidden from you. Leave them to God. And about those weaknesses which come to your notice, you must try to teach them how to overcome them. Try not to expose the weaknesses of the people, and God will conceal your own weaknesses, which you do not want anybody to know. Do not give cause to the people to envy each other, man against man, tribe against tribe, or one section of the society against the other. Try to alleviate and root out mutual distrust and enmity from amongst your subjects. Be fair, impartial and just in your dealings with all, individually and collectively, and be careful not to make your person, position and favors act as sources of malice. Do not let any such thing, or such person come near to you, who does not deserve your nearness and your favor. Never lower your dignity and prestige. Remember that backbiters and scandal mongers belong to a mean and cunning group. Though they pretend to be sincere advisers, do not make haste to believe the news they bring, and do not heed to their advice. Do not accept the advice of misers. They will try their best to keep you away from acts of kindness, and from doing good to others. They will make you frightened of poverty. Similarly, do not allow cowards to act as your advisors, because they will make you timid in enforcing your orders, will scare you from handling important affairs boldly, and will make your enterprises and invasions timid and timorous attempts. At the same time, avoid greedy and covetous persons, who would aspire to the position of acting as your counselor, because he will teach you how to exploit the community and how to oppress people to get their wealth. Remember that miserliness, cowardice and greed appear to be different wicked qualities, but they all arise from the same evil mentality of having no faith and no trust in God. Your worst ministers will be the men who had been ministers to the despotic rulers before you, and who had been a party to atrocities committed by them. Such persons should not be taken into your confidence, and should not be trusted, because they have aided sinners and have assisted tyrants and cruel rulers. In their stead you can comfortably find persons who are equally wise and learned, but who have not developed sinful and criminal mentalities, who have neither helped the tyrants in their tyrannies, nor have they assisted them to carry on their sinful deeds. Such persons will prove the least troublesome to you. They will be the most helpful. They will sincerely sympathize with you if you take them in your confidence. They will sever their connections with your opponents. Keep such people with you as your companions in your informal company, as well as in official gatherings in audience. From amongst such honest and humane companions and ministers, some would receive your fullest confidence and trust. They are those who can always speak out the bitter truth to you, and unreservedly and without fear of your status, can refuse to assist you or associate with you in the deeds which God does not like his good creatures to commit. Select honest, truthful and pious people as your companions. Train them not to flatter you, and not to seek your favor by false praises, because flattery and false praises create vanity and conceit, and they make a man lose sight of his real self and ignore his duties. You should not treat good and bad people alike, because in this way you will be discouraging good persons, and at the same time emboldening the wicked to carry on their wickedness. Everyone should receive the treatment which his deeds make him deserve. Try carefully